Welcome to the Community 2020, where our focus is to provide physical, mental, spiritual info and positive vibes to help you endure and adapt. We'll be bringing you experts to provide strategies to handle stress and boost your immunity. Welcome to the Immunity Community 2020. And with me today is Mr. Ryan Spiegal. And I am really excited and honored to have you because professionally, you're an attorney. And I'm going to brag for you a little bit, if that's okay. I'll give your bio because you're a humble dude. It's all good. So your focus for your private practice is government contracts and general civil litigation. And really, the reason that I wanted to have you to the Immunity Community 2020 was to share with our listeners the other aspect of what you do. Now, you're also a father and a husband. We'll tap on that in a second, the frustrations of quarantine. But I wanted to get the perspective and really give thanks to you because you're not only a member of the Gaithersburg City Council, you're vice president of that, correct?
I have been vice president on a rotating basis. I'm just a regular city council member now.
Okay, cool. And then also you're currently the president of the Maryland Municipal League. It's a tongue twister for me. Maryland Municipal League, which you inform me is a group of city council members and mayors to help disseminate information. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's sort of the trade association for all the cities and towns around Maryland. And there are actually 157 cities and towns. Gaithersburg is one of the biggest ones, but there's lots of little towns as well, all over the state. They've got their own mayors, their own city councils, their own town halls, and they're all dealing with the same challenges we're dealing with.
Yeah. And if you can, that's really what I want our listeners to know about, like from your side, from the perspective of seeing this, like you're behind the scenes helping get this information out and providing in such an uncertain time when none of us know what's going on as far as business owners and just people in the community going out to restaurants and things like that. What has it been like for you? And then like really, what is your job or your function in these groups right now? So more importantly, like what's it been like to have to deal with this stuff and how have you been handling it?
Well, I'm not going to lie. It's been really stressful. Everybody's dealing with different circumstances in this crisis. And I have friends and relatives who say, I'm so bored. I'm sitting around all day, stuck in my house with nothing to do. And that is not my experience.
Right.
I have been so busy from the moment I wake up every morning to the moment I go to bed. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a very different experience than I think some other folks have had. As you said, having young kids in the house and everything that comes with that. It's been a blessing that I'm able to be here to help support them and that we're spending a lot of time together with our kids. But it's also a big, big challenge. I think from the perspective of someone who's a local elected official, we're doing the best we can to try to set the tone and lead by providing assurance and comfort and information as much as we can. But I think the big challenge that we're seeing is how there are multiple layers of government and business and community associations and citizen groups that are all trying to get a handle on this.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to make sure that we project ourselves as a trusted source of information. We're trying to get that information. And we're also trying to figure out what the decisions are that are being made that are affecting our community that we may or may not always have control over. I'll give you a great example. Gaithersburg is an autonomous city in Maryland, and we have a lot of independent control over things like our land use and our zoning. We have our own police department, which most municipalities don't have.
Right.
When it comes to health decisions, we're really looking to the state and the county governments because they provide really more of the direct health component in terms of making decisions about shutting down swimming pools for the summer or things like that. And so as a city, we have public pool facilities. We have summer camps that we run through the city.
Yeah.
We work with the school system to use some of the space that we rent out from the school buildings. All of these are decisions and programs that are sort of dependent on decisions that other levels of government are going to be making.
Right.
And so it's a stressful time and a challenge because we want to be able to find and provide the answer to the public on a lot of these things. And a lot of the times the answer is we're still working on it, or we're still waiting to hear from some other level of government.
It's like one of those emojis. It's like you just don't know, and you have to constantly
Right.
And I really like, and I'm not saying this just to say it. Like I want our community to give you guys a big thanks because, you know, as a consumer, right? I'm a Gaithersburg resident. Like I'll end up just getting pissed off at the government, which is really, that's not the right way to do it because, or like, I don't feel, talking to you, I know you have nothing but the best intentions to do the best job for the people, including yourself, in the community, so that we can have summer camp, go to the pool, get on our parks and our fields. And it's really, it's an uncertain time for everybody. And I think it really gives us the opportunity for everyone just to say, thank you, you
That's
know,
right.
like, you know.
Hopefully it gives us a moment to step back, and all of our frustrations and all the conference calls and Zoom meetings that I've been on, you know, you hang up and you go, ugh, I want to achieve something. I want to be able to have something concrete to report to my constituents, but step back from the individual disputes or debates or decision-making and look at the big picture and say, many of us are fortunate to have a nice home, a family support system. And even though we can't necessarily go out and hug somebody who isn't part of our immediate household, we're fortunate to live in a time where we have technology and means to connect.
Yeah.
But there are also a lot of people out there in the community who don't have those things. And so we see the city's role as really being on the front lines of trying to help those members of the community who don't have secure housing, don't have secure food supply, got laid off and didn't have a safety net or savings that they can rely on, or don't have a network of family and friends. And we're very fortunate to have the resources in this city and I think the moral guidance in this city to know that that's an important role we play. And really, you shouldn't be thanking me. You should be thanking the people on the front lines of the nonprofit partners that we work with. You should be thanking the public works crews who are still coming through our neighborhoods and picking up, you know, trash and recycling. You should be thanking our police officers and our EMTs and our health.
This is our big thank you to everybody out there.
Everybody.
So I'm piggybacking off of you, and it's, you know, I've been a witness of it myself because I've seen how, you know, I'm in a fortunate position where my kids have computers, but I know that I've gotten all the messages through Quince Orchard High School in Gaithersburg, Lakelands Park Middle School in Gaithersburg, where the Chromebooks have been handed out, lunches have been handed out, and food. And it's really awesome to see the level of government support. I have to talk to my high schooler, my daughter, to figure out how the government organizations are structured. I forgot that stuff, but it's really, you know, now that we're sitting here talking about it, you can see it, how it just trickles down to that lowest level. And there's really just support from every angle, all the way up to federal support from like payroll protection things for me as a business owner. And so I've really been proud of our government system and how they've stepped up, and elected officials, as well as all the people on the front lines. Any insight you can provide? I know I'm trying to get like some insider info. Is there any updates or anything that you can provide, or hope, or levels of hope, or anything there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I know much more than the average person who's been following a lot of this information. I am privy to weekly or regular discussions with state government officials, county government officials, part of networks of mayors and local governments that work with federal officials, members of Congress, trying to lobby for maybe some additional resources for our community in this time. I will say one of the big challenges we've had is that you talk about us being the lowest level of government, which I know you meant as a compliment, but we like to remind people, you know, that they shouldn't forget about us at a time when the federal government, the state government, the county governments are trying to get aid for their budget shortfalls. Municipal governments have massive budget shortfalls right now too.
Yeah.
And so far, all the federal and state programs that have come out have not directed any specific direct aid to municipal governments, which is something we're continuing to work with our partners at other government levels on, to say, look, it's great that, you know, maybe Congress allocated some funding to the state, or in some cases directly to some of the larger counties. And it's great that the state is then funneling some of that money to smaller counties. But don't forget, you know, we're the level of government closest to the people.
Yes.
You know, we're the ones who are right here. You know, you see us when we're allowed to go out. You see us at the supermarket, and you see us on the street. And so we like to think we know our community best, and we know where to direct those resources most efficiently at a crisis. And so we're working really hard to advocate to other levels of government to remember that and to include that in our planning. But we work very closely with those other levels. So that's one sort of insider look. I've been on a few calls with the governor. I've been on a few calls with state agency heads who are updating local officials on, the case counts of COVID-19 in different communities in the state, on prepping for decisions to start to slowly reopen. Anybody who's paying attention knows that the governor announced this week that he's planning to loosen some of the quarantine rules starting on Friday at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he included a special caveat that said local governments who might be in different situations than other parts of the state have flexibility to keep some of those restrictions in place for the safety of the public. Yeah. And Montgomery County has already said we have too many cases locally to be loosening up restrictions at this point. So I just want your listeners to know that even though they've heard that the governor is loosening some restrictions, that's not applying yet in Montgomery County, and we still need to unfortunately be careful a little while longer.
Got it. Well, and sorry for saying that's the lowest level. It's the
level,
I
know what you meant.
but no, it's clear to me now. It's the level closest to the people, and it makes me feel more connected to you and the other government officials who are just working tirelessly to get this done. Is there any general tips you can leave our listeners with? Because I know you're not a healthcare practitioner, so most of our healthcare practitioners say get good sleep and breathe a lot and make time for yourself away from your children. Yeah. So any legal or government level tips you can give us?
Sure. Let me focus on the government level stuff. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our social media team. And I want to really encourage people who live in Gaithersburg or just maybe have a business here and are interested in keeping up on what we're doing. We're continuing to have public city council meetings remotely. Folks can watch them. They're publicly accessible. You can sign up in advance to testify over Zoom or over WebEx if you want. We're continuing to operate as best we can remotely, sort of fully functioning. If people want to send emails to their city council members, we are checking them regularly. If they want to call us, if they have a particular issue that they need help with, we're providing assistance services. We're responding to any sort of constituent needs. We've got our police department up and running. Everything, is fully operational in that sense. So people should know their government is still open and operating and working even if the city hall building is closed. And they should contact us if they need anything. And I want to encourage everybody to go on our city website, check out the information we have updated there regularly. There are ways to help. There are ways to get help. There are suggestions for how you can deal with mental health issues and physical health issues as we're all still stuck at home. Mm-hmm. And, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and sign up for our email newsletter, which comes out just once a week and has some really good information about city programs, city decision-making processes, and is really, really helpful. So it's really digestible. It's, it's consumer friendly. You're not going to get spammed with a lot of unimportant information. And we're really trying to position ourselves, and I think we are, as a trusted source for information, because there's rumors that fly around, as you know, Dr. Brian. I mean, there's all kinds of rumors that fly around, and people need to go to a place where they can trust that the information is accurate.
Well, it's very comforting to feel that and and to get that from you. So I'll make sure that our tech team, because I stink at that stuff. I'm barely good at Zoom. So I'm going to make sure that all of those things get shared in this conversation here that we're having, so that all of our listeners can follow suit and see how the city of Gaithersburg is actually functioning as its own municipal and really staying alive, staying connected. And I look at this as a way just to provide a little bit more certainty and a little bit of safety. So thank you, Ryan, for sharing that with us and giving us that comfort. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. We're here for you guys. That's what we do. We work for you.
Thank you, sir.